When I started, I had 500 bucks to my name. The very first video I watched was a video by DeFi Brian, and he was talking about how he made it.
Effectively, in the last 6 months, I've turned $2,000 into $10 million. It sounds like it's really good, but
back then I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I had ever watched. I remember looking at the coin, and I think I spotted like 5 ETH. Literally 3 minutes later, I came back and it was like $1 million. Like, I'm not even joking. It was crazy. I remember looking at that thing and I couldn't believe my eyes. There was 1 month where I just cleared 8 figures just off of like 5 coins. Another good piece of advice: you don't have to hit.
Do you have any narrative or conviction plays you want to talk about?
It's rare that I hold memes, but I have one meme that I'm holding right now. It's called.
Oh, no way. Boys, this is breaking news. We are getting Wreck on stream right now. If you guys don't know who Wreck is, he has a pretty insane origin story. But 9-figure dudes hopping on stream in trenches is insane, man. Everybody is back in the trenches. Honestly, it's amazing to see. Yo, test. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Okay. Wreck, what is going on? So it's actually crazy. I haven't actually talked to you before, but I think we've been mutuals for a while now, and obviously a lot of the people back in the OG ETH days are watching you on chain. If you want to give like a quick rundown of who you are, because right now I have 800 viewers on Twitch, and a lot of them barely know about crypto. So I want you to give a little intro about yourself.
Yeah, that's sure. Just a quick background about myself. Started in 2021. 500 bucks to my name. Didn't have much going on, but I started back in BSC because ETH gas was too crazy back then. And I was a grinder, you know. A lot of people talk about the trenches now, but back in 21, I would say there was the same kind of energy back then as well. Grinding out those really low cap shitters, trying to make 20 bucks, 30 bucks, making trying to 10x that, 20x that, and I grinded it out a couple like 6 months, maybe 7 months, up until I had a decent port. I don't know if some of you guys know about the whole Luna, FTX, UST shenanigans. I had a lot of money in that. Lost hella money, like 60, 70, 80% of my port back then.
Oh my, I did not know that.
It was pretty crazy, yeah. And I had to grind my way all the way back up. So this was in the start of 2022 kind of times. And after that, I kind of had a bad year in 2022 with all that considered. I think I was down for the year. But in 2023, Pepe dropped and we had like the craziest on-chain season. And back then in ETH, I would say that was kind of my prime because I had everything down from 2022. Like I had all the experience, all the knowledge I needed. And when new players came in, it was just free money right now. So I kind of cleaned house in 2023. I ported a lot of my port into Ethereum at the lows, 2x my whole port. In early this year, I moved out of Ethereum, bought a lot of Solana, 2x my port again, and I don't give like exact numbers, but let's just say in the mid 8 figures, starting from just 500 bucks in 2021. So that's like 3 years to make it, right? So
yeah,
that's really good cover story. I would definitely say there's some crazy people out here right now that are outperforming me heavy, but it's been a really good journey so far.
Okay, wait, this is breaking news. So mid 8 figures is massive.
Yeah.
Why did you not, and this is a common trait I've seen in a lot of good traders, because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, almost everybody at some point in time loses a bunch of money in the markets.
Yeah.
Whether it's just like a bear market, but the really good traders are the ones who stay throughout the bear and keep honing their like on-chain skills so that when we get like seasons like this, they can maximize their profits on chain.
100%.
So did you ever consider quitting, or you just knew you had such an edge in this game and it was just a matter of time until you can make that money back and the markets will be good again?
I think right when I started, I had some periods where I considered, some people don't know, but when I started, I was still full-time in university as well. Here in Europe, I was grinding it out. I remember I was doing a bunch of exams and trading at the exact same time. But when I started, it was definitely the hardest part, kind of getting your port out, because you know if you make any big mistakes, you're going to be wiped out, right? And there were some times where I was very, very close to kind of getting out of the game completely. But once you have built up a decent port, once you have some confidence, once you know, like, hey, I'm actually not that bad at this shit, maybe I can make this work. Even if you go through some rough patches, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to quit, you know. I'm going to just keep on going, even if it's like a 50, 60, 70% drawdown on my port. you know better times are coming. Just got to keep your skills, keep your wits with you, you know.
Facts. So you mentioned Pepe dropping, and anybody in the trenches, that was a pretty monumental like era in crypto because before Pepe, you know, all these meme coins were kind of topping relatively low, and that just essentially made everybody like believe in something again and kind of started off on chain. Was there something specific that helped you pivot from ETH to Solana, or how did that transition work? Because I know a lot of ETH traders took a little bit of time to rotate to Solana. So how and why did you come to Solana and start trading? And I know there's an obvious answer to this, but I'm curious.
No. That's a good question. I think as a trader, one of the most important skills you can have is adaptability, right? So I kind of mentioned this a bit on the pod, so don't forget to check that out. But I think you need to keep an eye for where the money is being made. You can't just be like, okay, I'm a god on ETH, you know, I'm gonna just stay here 24/7 and just destroy anyone that comes through. You got to remember that, you know, if you have such an edge at some point, there's gonna be a lot of people who are tired of you having that edge and gonna create that edge somewhere else. You know, you need to be ready to be the one that has to learn. You need to be ready to be like, okay, I'm not making as much money as I used to on this chain. What's going on? Are people making the amount of money that I used to make somewhere else? Are there people that are kind of starting to find an edge where there's a lot more people coming through? And a lot of things I realized at the start of the year, I mentioned at the start of the year, I moved a lot of my ETH to Solana. Even though I was still trading quite a lot on ETH, I just realized, you know what, ETH is not the retail chain right now. Everybody's looking at Solana. Everybody wants Solana. It got to the point where when we had Pump Fund down for a few months and you had the whole celebrity meta, I remember that was the time when I thought, okay, you need to put all your eyes on Solana. If you get to the point where launching a coin is synonymous with launching a coin on Solana, you don't want to be on ETH, right? You don't want to be on the back foot. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't adapt and he's stuck still trading ETH coins when you got those Solana juices going to multi-millions every single day. So like, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to move to ETH. I'm going to move to Solana. I'm going to find my ways around those circles with people who have been doing that stuff, who are better than me at that, and learn from them. Because of course, every chain is a learning experience. I think a good part that taught me that was originally I wasn't even on ETH. I was on BSC, and I had to learn to join ETH because I couldn't afford the gas fees back in the day. The gas fees were like $1,000 per transaction, so it was a really good learning experience. I think that helped me to become a lot more adaptable. Because who knows, Solana might not be the meta forever. It could be another chain that comes through. And when that happens, I'm definitely the first one to get there when it drops.
Yeah, that is something I do agree with. The best traders I've seen are super adaptable. One of my favorite quotes is adapt or die. Because the metas are always changing on crypto. I mean, we're constantly rotating between chains. And just being able to adapt to whatever the new meta is, whatever chain it is, whatever the edge is super important. Especially with last cycle, bots not even really being around. Like everybody was just like raw dogging Uniswap. And now that it's like it's normal for people to use Banana and Photon, and even some of these like migration snipers just are integrated into these bots already. So there's just like so many edges that are deteriorating over cycles. So consistently adapting and always having an edge is very rare, but a trait I've noticed in a lot of traders. And I actually have a question from the chat for you. It's how are you able to keep track of several different chains at the same time? They say you're active on ETH, Base, Sol, etc. So how are you able to take all this information and kind of filter it in a process so you can take it in?
I think this is where your circle comes into play, right? 100%. I'm in really good groups. I'm in Spliz, I'm in Shallow, I'm in Picnic, I'm in my friends. I have a bunch of groups. I got Cosmos as well. You can't manage all the information alone. That's one thing I'll say. You need to have a group of heavy hitters, a group of people where you know they can cover you, right? Of course, you can't see everything. You can't know everything. You can't hit every narrative. You can't know everything that's bullish at the same time. You gotta have those people where, for instance, on Base, there's some people they spot those things instantly, like the virtuals meta, stuff like that, where I just wake up, someone says, yo, buy this shit, it's gonna go crazy, and I just poured it, you know? You just had to have people you trust and build up those relationships, those circles over time, because other people can find edges, can find information that you would have never found, things that you would never pay attention to. And they'll be like, oh, how can you find something on all these chains? Well, I mean, yeah, of course, I have my eyes on all those chains, but it doesn't mean I'm going to find all those things instantly. So I think if you're out there starting a lot of these public groups, there's good DJing camps, there's places where you can actually get insight from a lot of different people and use that leverage to make sure you're on top of every chain.
Actually, this was a while ago, but post your banana trading contest, I think you did like an interview with somebody. I think it was a text interview. I actually have the tweet pulled up on stream, but they asked you your biggest edge. And you essentially just kind of explain what you explain now. And it actually really helped me throughout this cycle because yeah, like you simply can't do everything alone. You know, like even the best traders I know are able to keep track of maybe a few chains at a time, but you can't see everything going on. There's too many metas, there's too many chains, there's too many like news trades that are happening with new information. And so for people on stream looking right now, I'm going to put this tweet in chat. This is actually Rex's response to this thing. This was definitely one of my favorite quotes. Okay, so did your trading style inherently change as you went from like 5 figs to 6 figs to 7 figs to now 8 figs?
That's a good question. I think it changed significantly. So, of course, this isn't exact advice for other people who are growing their ports. A lot of people grow their ports in different ways. But for me, I was kind of like a balls to the wall person when I started. But after I lost a lot of money in like the Luna FTX type shit, I became an extremely conservative trader, like extremely. So I was stabling everything after every single trade. I wouldn't risk more than like 10% of my port. I wouldn't risk holding things over a long period of time. And I think that scenario affected me quite a bit going forward over a long period of time. I'm very, very conservative. I tend to not risk a lot of my port on memes, etc. And that kind of makes it that I don't have multiple max wins as some people have, where they're like hold peanut, hold goat, etc. to the multi-billions and get like a mid 8-figure win. But I tend to keep a lot of my profits. I don't lose a lot. I lose less than some people who only have 6 figures in their port. You know, I don't round trip crazy amounts usually and stuff like that. And I think my advice is that once you get to like 6, 7 figs, you can start risking a little bit. But whatever strategy you've been using to get where you are is a strategy that you can use to get to the next spot. You can keep compounding, keep winning, and you don't have to risk that much of your portfolio to keep going. Like, I think if you have something that works for you, don't think that just because there's other people posting 20, 30 million P&Ls on the max win, that's the way you're going to need to do it. No, you can just keep it consistent and make it that way. I think that's the best thing. That's my advice for someone.
Yeah, I actually like that strategy. We had last stream on, I don't know if you know Flipping Profits, and he said a very similar response. And not to put words in your mouth, but I think you're so confident in your on-chain skills that you don't need to risk too much capital. You know, like you don't need
100%.
You don't need to size in, because everyone has different trading styles, and my trading styles is honestly the opposite of yours, similar in a sense, but like you don't need to risk that much capital because you're so confident in your on-chain skills that you only really need, you know, a certain amount of capital to make flips because you just tend to be so early in that your trading style.
Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, that's a point as well. When you have that kind of information, when you have that kind of edge in the market, you don't have to risk a lot because you're always going to be one of the first people finding them. But I mean, there's also a way to be humbled in the Solana meta where you have coins like Quant, where you're going to need someone to give you that kind of conviction on the play itself, where you might think, oh my God, this is actually an extremely stupid coin. Yeah, that's topping at 5 mil, that's topping at 10 mil. But someone else actually helps you see the vision on that type of stuff and can help you and convince you to hold that for a way longer period of time as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, confluence is such an underrated aspect of trading. And a lot of people get it mistaken with borrowing conviction. But having your own conviction is something, and then noticing confluence of, as you said, maybe traders in the same group as you or in the same space is super important in this space. Okay, so I want to do a little throwback here because a lot of people, you know, are new to Solana. Do you have any memorable snipes back in the ETH days? Because for people who don't know, Rec was initially got very popular for, you know, just dominating on Ethereum. He won the banana trading contest. And I know a lot of your biggest trades were snipes or just early buys. Do you have anything memorable that you remember?
I do have a couple memorable ones. Surprisingly, actually most of my money was not made from snipes. It was just actually from spot buying and holding. I think one of my most memorable coins was there was this coin right after the Pepe meta dropped. It was called Wall Street's Bet coin. So like the Wall Street's Bet crew, I guess they dropped their own coin on ETH. I remember looking at the coin, looking at the deploy, and I thought, yeah, something's really off here. And I think I spotted like 5 ETH. Literally 3 minutes later, I came back and it was like $1 million. Like I'm not even joking. It was crazy. Like it was. I remember looking at that thing and I couldn't believe my eyes. The craziest part is that I round trip part of that play, but there were like multiple $1 million plays in like a month. Like I think there was 1 month where I just cleared eight figures just off of like 5 coins, and I think the funniest part is that I missed Pepe itself, and I saw it really, really early, and a couple of my friends were like, yeah, that doesn't look that good. And this, you have to remember, this was when everything was completely dead. Coins were topping at like 100K. Things were not looking really good. So I was like, I'll be fine with skipping that. Of course, went to multiple billions. But I think that after that, another good piece of advice, you don't have to hit the main runner. You have to hit the main runner, but you definitely want to be in the second one. After that, you don't want to be chasing tariffs that much. But I think Wall Street Bets, there was another coin called like Sponge. There was a SpongeBob coin as well that just spawned in at like 3-4 mil, and I just decided, you know what, this thing looks weird as hell. I'm gonna spot into that size in, ran it all the way up to 100 mil, sold it back around 80 on the way back down, and I think that was like another high 6-fig P&L. Of course, not as crazy as some of the stuff you see on Solana these days. On Solana, I'm kind of moving in silence. So I prefer that people don't know that I work that hard on this chain, but there's some good plays that I make here and there as well. Hit like Peanut, things like that. But always keep moving, always keep improving. That's the best thing for me, right?
Yeah, you definitely have been in the silence. I mean, I feel like you've tried to purposely stay away a little bit from main character energy, and I actually didn't even know you were on Solana for a while. And then a few of my friends, found your wallets and stuff. But if you were to start trading right now again with $10,000, I guess you wouldn't really change anything because you already have all this intuition and edge built up. So you wouldn't do anything different. I'm gonna ask you a question from chat. You do not have to answer this question because it might be an edge. But they're asking you, how were you able to choose how much to bribe on Banana? Like, was that just like an intuition thing, you knowing how much people normally would buy on things? You were just so tapped in.
That's fine. On ETH and even on Solana, although not as much to an extent, it just takes time. That's the biggest thing. It's experience, and you need to consider it kind of like a blind box game, right? Like, I think there used to be a situation with houses where you might have a blind box bid where you want to bid a specific price for a house. There's multiple people competing for the house. It's basic game theory where you got to just think about the type of people you're against, right? Of course, have a good idea of all the type of people that go for certain types of plays. There's general knowledge of all the people who snipe things, stuff like that. Then you have to consider secondary. If they were going to go for them, if I was them, how much would they think that I would be going for? And then in that kind of way, you have to consider, okay, how much and by how far do I have to go to beat them without breaking the bank? Like, I remember there was this crazy snipe for some kind of science-based coin. Oh, I think it was called Arbius. And a couple of my friends and I, we got ready to snipe that. Somebody beat us by like, I would say maybe half an ETH bribe, and they made $2 or $3 million off of sniping it. And it was a really, really extremely close edge case. And those type of things, sometimes it's up to luck of the draw. Other times it's where those 6 months of 18-hour days where you've been bribing every single day and you kind of have a feel where you just know what you got to run. I think experience is the biggest thing. So even when you start out, you don't need to break the bankroll. You don't need to, of course, here in Solana, it's not as crazy. Spotting is kind of the way to win at the moment. But if the meta, if it shifts or we go back to that, I mean, I'm seeing people bribe more and more on things on Solana. Just getting an experience, just looking at previous launches, looking at what people did, just getting that knowledge will always help you in the future, even if you're not a big briber or a big sniper.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, someone actually bribed 505 Sol, I think last week on a migration snipe, which was insane. But I always get people that like ask me like, how do I snipe? Should I start sniping? And I think Uniswap Villain, he had this, we had like a troop of the day for quotes, and he essentially said that like be very aware of the opportunity cost of whatever you're learning is. Because
Yes,
if you want to
definitely.
get into the sniping game, I always say you're going up against people who have so much experience in this, who understand the dynamics, like you said, of this is how much I should be bribing here, this is how I do this is how I do that. It's especially at this point in the cycle, it's probably very minus EV to try to get into any of that. You know, like the bear market is really
100%.
where you want to learn. So we have a question from chat. What, in your opinion, makes a good group slash FNF? Like, what are some traits that define a good group versus a not good group?
I think the biggest mistake people have is that they have a one group that just tries to fulfill all the requirements. So like CX trading, trading on chain, narrative trading, trying to get everything into one kind of group. I don't think that's a good thing. I think a good group is specialized. Yes, it's important to kind of have that person in your group, like the CEX trader, the on-chain god. But like, I think the best groups are the people that are specialized on a certain edge and excel in it. I think one really good thing is like there's a lot of good people in Spliz that are just crazy good on chain. And when you have multiple crazy people on chain, it is impossible to miss something in the area that you're in. Like if there's something on ETH, you're not missing it. Whereas if you have a group where you have people in multiple areas, you might not be as focused on thing. And you know, jack of all trades, master of none is kind of a prevailing theme when it comes to this kind of thing, where you can have someone who's really good at ETH and then he's away for 8 hours and then you miss a crazy cook just because your guy wasn't on. Like you don't want quants who can be unreliable in times of need. You want multiple quants in multiple groups that focus on certain things so that you always have your eye on something. You always have a focus on that type of thing. So my advice is, yeah, get some FNFs, but don't be in 5 FNFs that all do the same thing. Get in groups that are different enough where you have a mix of knowledge and a spread of knowledge between different groups, and they all specialize on those kind of things.
Definitely, yeah, I do agree with that. I'm gonna add two more things, and I'm curious your thoughts on what make a good group. So
Yeah,
first, I think it's very important to have a mix of net worths in a group. I don't think you
yeah.
want all super rich people because then people get, rich and complacent and lazy. And then you also don't want an entire group of people who are just underdogs trying to make it because then you don't have that experience we've talked about, that
Hmm. Hmm.
intuition. So I think that's really important. And then also it's more of an atmosphere of the group, but you need to like I'm a big believer in you can't just throw a bunch of really good people into a group and expect it to work. I think there needs to be a sense of value add in the group. You can't just
Hmm.
have people looking to extract value the moment someone pastes a contract address, ape 10%, and then just slowly dump it on everybody aping. So
100%. I think that mix of net worth thing is good because the higher you go, the more complacent a lot of people can be. You're in a group with a bunch of whales. Everybody's like they came back. Oh, I just got this watch. I just got this car. Like I just bought this yacht. I don't fucking know. But like people will come back. They're less likely to grind as crazy as people who are trying to make it. I think a good mix is really important. But you also don't want to be a group where every single coin sent is sent in fucking pump fun, and you don't have a single coin that's sent above a certain market cap because they think it's already gone or it's way too high, or how the hell do we can't buy this now, it's already way too high. You kind of need some people that kind of ground you to make sure like, hey, wait a minute, the narrative on thing is insane. You need to get in now. You haven't missed it. And another thing is you need a mix of people who sell early and people who hold coins. Like you cannot be in a group where everybody is a moon boy and they round trip everything every time. And you also cannot be in a group where they're out for 2x on every single coin. Like you can't be in a group where every single person's cheating because that's how you just end up in selling everything, and you just end up with insane loss point on every single coin because you just didn't have the vision. So I think a mix of people who hold and sell is another important metric you need in your groups.
yeah, I definitely agree. So when you first joined this space, this is a two-part question. Was there anybody that inspired you? And now, is there anybody that you see who's on the come up that also kind of inspires you? Maybe not that they're like above you, but like you see killing it and respect. So who did you look up to when you joined the space? And now who do you kind of think is killing it in a top on-chain trader?
Okay, this might be a bit controversial
Uh-oh.
as an opinion, but when I started, the very first video I watched was a video by DeFi Brian Spider. It was on YouTube. I had $500 to my name, and he was talking about how he made it. Now, I don't know the kind of how people see him nowadays, but back then I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I had ever watched. So I thought, yeah, I'm gonna make it to 10 mil one day in my life. Now I think after that I didn't look up to anyone really when I was starting out. Nowadays there's so many people to name that have been coming up. I mean, the clear ones like yourself, most of Grand. A lot of people in Splizzy keep low key, but they're pumping it out. There's Brox as well. There's a lot of people in Picnic. My friend Lunch he's been killing it crazy. Itai has been from Big Blue. He's been cracking out those P&Ls. What can I say? And there's someone. Okay, if I was to say who my biggest inspiration right now is, since my problem is holding stuff, it's gonna be Ninja, Crypto Ninja, and it's gonna be Uni PCS. Like those people are on another level right now, and you don't see them dropping P&Ls on the timeline every time they make $100,000 like I see around, but they are there cracking 7-8 figure wins, and it's like another day in the park. So I think if you want to learn how to hold things, like you're in the 6-7 figure range and you don't know what to do, I think those are the people you need to look at. You need to look at them and say, how can I be more like them?
Yeah, I will say Uni PCS probably this cycle has been one of my biggest inspirations because
100%.
He truly taught me like how to hold. Like he was the one that was like dreaming before anybody else, and everybody calls him Bonk Guy. But the craziest thing is Bonk isn't even his biggest position by far. That's
crazy.
Yeah, so like everybody only knows so much about him, but he's the sole reason of like just like believe in something, you know, like holding things longer, raise your ceilings, raise your targets. And without him, I would have probably sold a lot of things too early. So I think that's definitely a sorry, chat's going crazy. That's definitely one of my big, and especially what we're seeing right now in the cycle is like your biggest problem, and I feel like a lot of people in spaces is selling too early. Like that's mine also. Like because we're so used to guessing the ceilings on certain narratives, and we're always I call it the near sight paradox. It's being earlier than the early people, so you're like a sniper, and like maybe the narrative isn't even fully developed yet, so you don't even have all the catalyst or whatever, and like things are just going so much higher than people could have ever imagined, and we're in that phase of the cycle where like there was a big opportunity cost to selling things too early. So I've been trimming on the way up instead of like full stacking recently, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw that post on Chill Guy. I think you've been killing it recently as well.
I fucked that trade up, but yeah, it was a good win. But yeah,
I think also a good skill to have is not be afraid of blasting if you haven't been in right at the pico bottom. You know, you got to get out of that instant flipper mindset and get into a trader mindset when everybody's just blasting stuff higher. But I think you've been killing it.
No, you know who's been killing the top blasting? Pow. I don't know if you track him on
Pow, yes, Pow has been doing great as well, man. That peanut trade. Peanut trade is still something else.
there's been like 3 trades now where I'll see him top blast into something, and I'm like this guy's crazy. Like, what is he doing? And then I wake up like a few days later, and it's just like through the roof. And he's like a
works
genius.
out.
It works. Yeah, I know. So top blasting is a forgotten art. I think he says that, but yeah.
I agree. One thing I will say is that you got to be careful. You see these signs of froth. Top blasting works out until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, it's going to not work out really badly. So, yeah, top blasting is good. Be careful, but also time your entries. Don't be a retard, you know. You gotta be careful with a lot of the stuff that you do. And when you see the signs, when you open Google and the first thing is how to buy chill coin, I don't think we're early in the cycle. That's what I'll say.
It goes back to what you said earlier. It's like I use this analogy of a video game, and everybody has different abilities, you know. So everybody has different trading styles. Like some people have like the your trading style. They're like flipping profits, just being super early and just constantly just stacking wins. Others have like a uni PCS or POW, just like 100 times or 0 type mentality. And there's a bunch of like in between different like trading styles also. But like that's the beauty of the game. It's like I don't think anybody should try to like just because you saying your trading style works for you, it's not going to work for like a random person in the chat, you know. And that goes for everybody.
100%. Yeah, exactly that. So when you see these kind of things, don't think, oh my God, this uni PCS guy is just he's just blasting stuff, he's just winning on everything. I'm just gonna start doing the same. That's an easy way to just minus 50% your port. Think, be smart, follow people who are kind of like, I wouldn't say it's bad to follow people who have a crazy port size, but you can get blindsided, you can get disillusioned, you can think, yeah, I'm gonna just follow what he does. But realistically, the higher up you get, the harder it is to get multiples on your port. They have to take different types of trades. They got to take different types of opportunities to just increase their port. Whereas for you, you can lock in on meme scope. You can get those crazy wins every single day. There's a different opportunity to make it up in a single play. So be in at the beginning, put in the effort, etc., and you'll make it.
Yeah, so we got a question from chat. I think you a little bit answered this already, but they're asking you, how do you navigate the Solana trenches compared to back in the ETH days? Like, is there any inherent differences you noticed being in the Solana trenches versus the ETH trenches?
Oh yeah. There's some differences. I think ETH is a lot more methodical. There's a lot more, oh, you see this contract, it's not going to go live until 2 or 3 days. You check through the wallets, there might be an interconnected wallet. You check through the Twitter, oh, this guy works at this and that. Oh, this on-chain wallet. There's a lot more on-chain checking for ETH that I've noticed than there is to Solana. Solana is more narrative-based. Oh, this guy works at Pantera Capital. Oh, this guy works at Multi-Chain Capital, whatever. His friend just dropped the coin. That means it's an AI coin or whatever. It's going to be bullish. That type of stuff. On ETH, it's more about you see this connected wallet that's connected to another coin that did well. That connected coin did well. You check some of the buyers, the first 15 buyers bought that coin. It could be a similar team. I think the difference is on ETH, you can tell when a specific team is dropping a coin compared to Solana, where it seems a lot more random. Lots of people, too many people are dropping. There's not the same people dropping. It's all about who drops the narrative and what the narrative itself is. It's not as much of a narrative-based chain, I would say ETH is. Solana, it's news trading. It's news trading every single day. Something drops, you got to be ready for the news. Or here and there on-chain works. Sometimes it's useful. I'm not discounting it completely, but I think narrative chain is Solana a lot more of the time. Something like although I would say nothing would really pick up on ETH, but something like Quant from yesterday would definitely not be an ETH coin, no matter the type of the cycle we're in. But Solana, the home of the CTOs, right?
It is the home
season.
It's pretty crazy to think of. It doesn't happen too much anymore, but there was a period of time on Solana where like it was easy mode because you got a second chance. Like every single token it seemed like that bonded was having a CTO.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was insane. It was literally like a second chance in on-chain. So I know you mentioned conviction plays aren't really your trading style. Do you have any narrative or conviction plays you want to talk about? Things you're maybe looking at or in right now?
So if I'm talking about my large caps, which are like stuff I'm holding 7 figures, and I wouldn't say these are directed towards most of people starting out, but yeah, I'm holding Banana as one of my biggest conviction plays just because of this was one of the rarest coins that I've been holding for over a year. You may see me retweet them or whatever because I know the team personally. They're amazing people. But I think Banana is really, really solid. Always outperforms ETH. You get money for holding it. Really, really straightforward. I think that's really, really good coin for stability. As for Solana, I'm holding a whole lot of shitters. I would not say conviction as much as I would say it is just something that I'll hold for the sake of it. But if I'm going to say something that's undervalued on Solana, I'm holding Griffin. I've been holding it for an extremely long time. And I think that you have so many worse coins trading multiples higher. Like
wait, Griffin, ticker Griffin? Or?
The ticker would be GRIFFAIN. It's testgriffin.com. The devil, that guy, he's been pushing something for a very long time. Chart is super stable even right now with all the pullbacks. But I think that's a really good one. And it's rare that I hold memes, but I have one meme that I'm holding right now. It's called Hopcat. And
oh no way! I was just in that one. Wait,
that's it.
Yeah, it was on. Okay, I gotta aim this again because, dude, this lines up with my thesis recently of because they've really tried to expand their TikTok side social medias, And
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
ape this before before while we're talking, but yeah. So that's what I've been trying to tell people is that this new like okay, so signs of mass adoption are like analogous with signs of froth, pretty much. Like they're kind of the same thing
Yeah.
sometimes. But this entire chill guy bid was from TikTok, which is insane to think about. And a lot of CT right now I've noticed is almost mid-covering themselves into PvPing against each other by like trying to front run this like TikTok wave, but they're not really even in the TikTok memes. So it's okay, you actually just spiked the fuck out of this. But
That's crazy shit.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, the reason why is because they were spamming my comments on TikTok. I actually posted a TikTok yesterday and they were spamming it. So
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing, right? You got to get that. I mean, Popcat was kind of similar when it started out. A lot of these things have a long time of consolidation, but like one time it just takes that second of virality to just get out there. So I think you got to be holding this stuff for a brief period of time. Check up on the analytics. Check up on the Google analytics on some of these coins. How much, for instance, stuff like Moodang, like
facts.
how long, how relevant is it? How relevant is something like Peanut? You got all the times with Elon and all the times when Donald Trump was even allegedly you were going to mention and stuff like that. And you got to kind of have the far side for a lot of these things. But once you have the vision, once you see like, hey, I'm seeing my friends and family starting to talk about a chill guy. Maybe I should actually start thinking about this, or it's on my For You page or whatever the hell that kind of stuff is. You need to not be so disconnected from trades in your day-to-day living that you might miss the signs of a narrative forming even if you're not trading.
Yep, and that's one of the beautiful things about crypto is that if you look at TradFi, a lot of the edges come down to like data. Like they're using these advanced models for like price to earnings and like all this stuff where like in crypto, a lot of people's biggest edge is just your personal experience. Like you said, actively being able to like go on TikTok and see like, holy fuck, like Moodang is everywhere right now, or like show guys all over TikTok. Like these small things are why you have an edge in crypto versus in TradFi. These big institutions already have all this data, So that's why I think the beauty of crypto exists. So my friend Prophet is asking you a question. What do you think of Colt?
I think Colt is the play. All roads lead to Colt.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. All roads lead to Colt.
Colt, yeah, Ethereum needs Colt. At this point, ETH is just the gas fee to buy Colt on.
To buy Colt,
yeah.
I think that's the move.
So yeah, that's crazy. I always end off these interviews by asking the person to give one sort of their favorite quote or life advice. It could be in regards to trading or not, but what's one like phrase or quote that you want the audience to take home with them at the end of this? All 1,138 people watching right now.
Well, it's pinned on my Twitter. My only code is tap in. That's it.
Okay.
You gotta be tapped in. That's all you gotta be doing. Don't be lazy.
That is facts, Wiz. All right, well, Rec, I appreciate you coming onto the stream. Thank you so much. If you guys aren't already following Rec, I'm going to put his Twitter in chat and have it pulled up on stream. Rec, thank you for popping out. I appreciate you. Good luck with the rest of your day, man.
All right, take care.
I kind of wanted it off with like a little inspirational talk. A lot of people are saying top signals, and, I'm not going to lie, I do agree with them in some sense. But what people forget is the last leg of bull markets are often the most exponential, the most euphoric, the most FOMO, okay? So if you have been trading, whether you're new or been trading for months now, this is really your time to lock in. There's really no other time better than this. I mean, you have coins going to 100 million overnight, So, if you've been in the space for a little bit, don't let all this hard work building an edge on chain to go for nothing, So lock in, boys. Milk the markets for all it has. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter, okay, at Rowdy Crypto on Twitter. Make sure to toss me a follow. And we're blowing up on TikTok. If you guys want to go on TikTok, it's at Rowdy Crypto. Besides that, boys, it was a pleasure having everybody. Lock the fuck in.